Go ahead and keep eating. Enjoy your lunch. Enjoy the networking. But I'm going to ask if we can get everyone's attention. So we're going to get the formal program started. And so to kick us off, I'm going to hand the mic over to TAG's chair, my very dear friend, phenomenal leader, Mustafa Tamiz.
Thanks, Christina, and welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I hate to interrupt you because I know that we at TAG as a transportation advocacy group have a great community. And so when you get together and you share, break bread, it's an opportunity to have fellowship with each other. But I want to take a minute and just recognize the people that really help make this happen. Christina and the staff do a great job. And we have our TAG board that I wanted to introduce. Jim Russ, who's our vice president, vice chair. Jim, raise your hand right there. Jim was in that corner. Michael Pearson, Dr. Carol Lewis, Jeff Collins, Raj, Veronica Chapo, Delia Miswak, Greg Reyes, Darren Willer, Jack Drake. All of our board members do a lot, not just to put these events together, but a lot in the background to make sure that transportation interests are met and that we continue to advocate in bringing people together to get things done. As I watch here, I see our sheriff here. It makes me very safe. I was sitting next to him. And our folks in law enforcement that do such a great job. One of the reasons why transportation is important is not just the infrastructure that we built, but the users of it. So if you're on the freeway, you see the sheriff's patrol people there. And it needs to be designed and structured in a way that it keeps us safe. So mobility is not just about getting people from point A to point B, but really it's about how do we create safe infrastructure for everybody. And so with that, I want to introduce our chief guest today. She's going to come in and speak. Then there'll be a presentation, and we're going to do a short Q&A. But as I introduce her, let me just tell you this. Over my career of like 25 years in this town, I've had the pleasure of working with a lot of different public officials. People that come from various different backgrounds and rise to highest level of office in government. And you get to see them before they were in office, and then you get to see them while they're serving in office. And there's very few people that make that kind of a transition with the humility and grace as Lesley Briones does. She is a Harvard-trained school teacher. Then she went to Yale and became an attorney. She practiced in one of the leading firms in our nation. She was a chief operating officer for one of the larger nonprofit, kind of structuring important initiatives around this city, around this county, and around the country. And then she became a judge and wore the black robe. And now she is the commissioner of Precinct 4. And if you look at the span of her career and doing all of those things and still having 3 beautiful girls, what it tells me is that here's somebody who's wicked smart, but leads with their heart and leads with compassion. And so for the reason we wanted to hold this event together with her is that what most people might not realize is that she is truly an infrastructure hawk, meaning she just doesn't want to plan and bring people together for partnership, but she wants to get a project done. Lesley has this great energy about her of this urgency of now, that the sooner we get to things, the sooner people benefit. And so with that, with the urgency of Lesley Briones, I welcome her to the stage. Please give her a TAG warm welcome.
We want to express our deep appreciation to Commissioner Briones for this incredible support and thank her for hitting the ground running.
We've been waiting a long time, but the wait is over.
I want to thank Commissioner Briones for her continuous commitment for improving the quality of life for all Harris County residents. Thank you, Commissioner.
There is no question that we can accomplish a lot more when we all work together, and this Commissioner Briones is a perfect example of that partnership.
We are connecting places to people and people to places.
Commissioner Lesley Briones.
Good afternoon. Come on, y'all. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. Let me hear you. That's a little bit better. First of all, thank you to our board chair, Mustafa Tamiz. You are a true public servant and leader, and I appreciate our friendship and your leadership in our community. So thank you so much, Mustafa, for that kind introduction. Thank you to the entire TAG board. And thank you to our phenomenal executive director, Cristina Cabral. Let's hear it for Cristina. And to TAG for everything you do to advocate for progress in this region and throughout the state of Texas. Thank you. I also want to thank my fellow elected officials who stood earlier. It is an honor to serve alongside you, and I am having the time of my life forging these partnerships between our counties and cities to make sure we're getting things done. I'd also like to thank our sponsors. This is a sold-out event, and this is testament to your commitment and generosity and your vision for the future. So thank you for your generosity. Let's give a round of applause. And I also want to acknowledge my fabulous Harris County Precinct 4 team. If you're a part of the Precinct 4 team, could you please stand? Could you stay standing? And I'd also invite the other Harris County team members, our different department directors, to also stand. I see many of y'all here. Thank you. Any other Harris County team member? Thank you very much for your service. And again, Sheriff, thank you for your sacrifice and service in helping our community navigate some of the most critical challenges we're facing. I will be brief. I'll say a few remarks on the why and the how, and then I'll invite one of my team members, Luis Guajardo, up to talk about the what, and then we will join Mustafa in conversation. Planning for the future. I love that we're Precinct 4 because 4 lends itself very nicely to many things, but the truth of the matter is that every leader in this room, every individual in this room is called to serve and called to lead as we plan for the future. I do feel a tremendous sense of urgency. Mustafa knows me well. It's as if he had read my mind and my notes. Every day I wake up with a tremendous sense of urgency because we know the need, we know the challenges, we know the opportunities, and so many in our community have been waiting, and we need to know, all of us, that we did everything we could to advance the ball. Now, I'll confess, the biggest challenge I have experienced since taking office in January is the pace of government. Because I only know one speed, and that's sprinting. I was in track since kinder, so literally I was a sprinter, and that is the way I operate. You have to be all in, all the time, every day. And that was one of the first meetings I had that deeply energized was with Roberto Trevino. You could please stand again. He and I have that same adrenaline junkie. We must be sprinting at all times and do it boldly and innovatively. But the reason I have such a sense of urgency, apart from my dislike of inefficiency and slowness, the reason I have the urgency is because of the mother in me. Every day I go home and I ask myself, did I do enough today for my little girls and for all kids in this community? How would you answer that question for you and your firms? We owe it to our children and grandchildren to keep making sure that Harris County is future ready. And to me, the way we become future ready is all through our infrastructure. Our infrastructure is life. Not only the quality of life, but it is literally life in terms of, can we get to work safely? Can we get home to our families safely? Infrastructure is life. I am so proud, and I'm sure many of you share my pride, to be living in Harris County. We have a world-class medical center. We have sent a man to the moon. There is incredible talent in this room and in this region. My vision is that we continue advancing our infrastructure, not playing at the margins. We are here to drive transformational change. We are here to compete with every city around the world to make sure that we are thinking creatively, boldly, and innovatively of other mobility solutions, to other solutions to flooding, and beyond. But it is not enough if we are just building the sidewalk without thinking of the connection to the community, to the environment, the connection to public safety, and the connection to the economic opportunity. So as we build, literally build, let us make sure we are always thinking of how we are building for the future. Today, you will hear a lot about our commitment to equity, sustainability, resiliency, to the community. As we are launching these efforts, we are doing it with deep community engagement. Because the way I see it here in government, we work for the people. The way I see it, any of you who work with government, you work for the people. So we need to listen with an open mind and an open heart and do community engagement in a meaningful, multicultural, culturally sensitive way. It is long overdue. We must listen and learn as we drive this region forward. And at the end of the day, if we want to stay a world-class region, we all know that the two biggest challenges that may deter folks from moving here are our flooding and mobility traffic congestion issues. So as we work together to try new different things, multimodal options, as we work together with our surrounding counties, as we're doing with Fort Bend and Judge George and his team, with HECTRA, with Metro, whether it's the expansion of West Park Tollway, or working with Metro as we create connectivity around the region, or meeting with Judge Duhan. I saw him here. We met earlier this week. How can we think of mobility? Because in Precinct 4, I have the honor of working with Waller County and Fort Bend, and we know we have the largest growth and development coming. So we want to partner, we want to listen, we want to learn, and we want to make sure we're doing things in a way that all goes down to connection. We are connecting places, we are connecting people, and we are connecting partners. You will hear various examples of how we are working with that connection framework. We have doubled the size of our infrastructure team, again, because of this sense of urgency as we are driving dozens and dozens of projects. We want them executed with excellence, and we want them done on time, under budget, ideally, under budget, but definitely on budget, but we need to get things done. We need to stop talking and we need to start acting. So as we continue moving forward together, I encourage you to think of it all through the prism of connection, through the prism of building for the future. We are all called to lead. We are all called to serve. And the people of Harris County and our children and grandchildren are depending on us. So I look forward to the conversation today, and I look forward to carrying it on with you in collaboration, in partnership for many years to come. With that, I would like to hear more about the what. I will invite one of my phenomenal team members, Luis Guajardo, our Director of Planning and Community Development, to join me. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner, for your leadership and your belief in the power of planning. I'm confident that Precinct 4 will be a better place to live, to raise a family, or start a business due to your leadership and your foresight in this office, and it is an honor to work with you every day. At Precinct 4, we are working diligently to connect places, people, and partners. But first, I do have to put in a plug real quick. We got our new website up and running. The URL is listed here, and it would be a disservice to our comm staff if we didn't get the word out. It's cp4.harriscountytexas.gov. We invite you all to check it out. There's a lot of information across the precinct of what we're doing, not just in infrastructure, but across the entire spectrum of our work. You'll find additional information. I'll cover some of this, but you can see a lot of our efforts within mobility, community and action plans, and parks and trails that we have ongoing or that are forthcoming in the very near future. We've also had the privilege to assemble a really dynamic team of planners and engineers and infrastructure and GIS professionals. And it is an amazing experience to work with them every day to support the work of planning for the future and thinking about how do we do something that is bigger and better? And so at the forefront of what we're doing, the project I think that is most emblematic of connecting places is our effort to connect the Buffalo Bayou through the Buffalo Bayou Connector Greenway Connector project that connects Buffalo Bayou and Memorial Park, a signature project that has been in the works for years. It is a partnership with the Houston Parks Board and various other entities in this part of town that will transform and connect the west end to the east end of town and really just transform our environment overall. A lot of questions have come up about that project. If I can just real quick, it will be going into design in fiscal year 24, partially into 25. We're really excited to partner with all of our different entities in the region and do deep public engagement to get the right project built for our community. So look forward to that design process, and hopefully we can hit the ground running with construction in mid-2025 or 2026. So thank you, Beth, and your dynamic team for all the hard work on that. We are also partnering with the Energy Corridor District on the Park Row and North Derry Ashford multimodal connectivity project, which will have regional impact. It's not just a project in the Energy Corridor. This will connect far-reaching trail systems throughout Harris County and expand equitable access to jobs, schools, and housing through affordable transportation options. The project includes 6 intersection improvements, 3 of which are in the high-injury network. There are regional trail connections that will allow riders to go from Katy to downtown once the Spring Branch Trail is built on White Oak Bayou in the longer term. There are safe routes to school projects in here as well, and a connection to the Addicts Park and Ride, a future transit-oriented development site that Metro has been working hard on. Connecting places is also about providing transportation choices to our residents and our communities. That is why our team is also evaluating demand for public transit in Precinct 4 with a particular focus west of the reservoirs, an area that has grown exponentially and yet has not seen much expansion of public transportation over the last few years. We recognize that it may be some time until we can get transit service out there, and so what we will be doing in the interim as a precinct is making sure that the built environment is transit supportive. So we're working diligently to make sure that we're improving sidewalks and ramps and safe crossings so that when we're able to find the resources to bring public transit out here, it is a transit supportive environment that is safe for everyone to use. So We look forward to working closely with Metro on that and analyzing the different types of transit services that might be amenable in that area. But connecting places is also about identifying major infrastructure projects that come around once in a generation, such as the West Park Tollway Study. This is a regional partnership with Hectra, Metro, Fort Bend County, Harris County, and many others. And a major shout out to Mr. Roberto Trevino and the Hectra team for having the leadership and courage to take on such a major infrastructure project that can rechange Western Harris County for decades to come. What excites me about this project is that the goal is to reimagine the tollway corridor into a truly multimodal infrastructure that can keep pace with the rapid development out west that we have seen, but also to create more multimodal connectivity and access into our major employment centers, such as the Energy Corridor District, Uptown, West Chase, and even Greenway Plaza, which is a little further in on the West Park Tollway. And Precinct 4 is also really encouraged by this project enough that we're submitting a grant to the Reconnecting Communities program to look at how we can bring state-of-the-art urban design and public engagement to restitch some of the neighborhoods that have been severed by transportation infrastructure. So there's a lot of excitement around this project and a lot of other adjacent issues happening there. Public space is pivotal in providing access for all members of our community. And that is why we are so excited when we think about connecting people, we think about public space as being foundational to that. But investments in green space and public space have not been equitable. That is why we have launched a precinct-wide Parks and Trails Master Plan with a strong focus on health equity, titled Precinct 4 Healthy Parks Plan. It is crucial that we're thinking about community health, environmental health, and biodiversity health, and to identify improvements for our entire park network. And so stay tuned to that effort as we launch that this fall and get started in engaging our communities to see what is going to be the future green print of our precinct looking like. We're also spearheading master plans for 2 parks in Gulfton, Sharpstown, Burnett Bayland and Bayland Park, which will the focus to upgrade them into regional destinations that also are built to serve their surrounding communities, that can absorb more flood water, that can help become the community be more resilient in the face of urban heat and flooding. And so we're so excited to launch those efforts and have already began engaging the communities around the future of their parks, because those are our community's parks. Connecting people is also about bringing planning support to areas that are in need, to create a pipeline of capital projects, policies, and programs that can best support communities fulfill their long-term aspirations for economic development, livability, and quality of life. The Katy East Community Plan and Mobility Study, which you see mapped here on the top, is focused on creating a long-term vision for the unincorporated areas of Katy, an area that rivals many large cities in population with more than 500,000 residents, and is a collection of many MUD organizations who have forever been building infrastructure and trying to keep up with maintenance. And so the precinct is looking at bringing everyone together there to see how we might look toward the future to ensure that families can continue to grow and live in this part of Precinct 4. The Spring Branch East Community Plan is located along the Hempstead Corridor, parallel to 290, and is focused on identifying infrastructure improvements that can support the rapid infill that we have seen starting to happen in this part of town, and identifying those catalytic projects and flood resilience initiatives that can really support continued population growth here. But we're also thinking of, in other communities, connecting people might be about improving public safety and the design of the built environment, so that our children, families, single moms, the elderly can be safe when they're walking to the bus, to their area grocer, or to a neighborhood park. We're proud to announce that we're hard at work in delivering a $6 million investment in crime prevention through environmental design projects for the communities of Alief, Gulfton, and Sharpstown. $2 million each for these different communities, that in A-Leaf, we're gonna bring 1,200 trees to reforest a neighborhood that has been at the brink of urban heat and is one of the hottest in town. An exciting part of that is we're actually gonna start tree planting this year in the unincorporated areas of A-Leaf. Within the incorporated parts of town, we're going through permitting, and we're hoping to do that about a year from now. But over 1,200 trees, it's an exciting opportunity to reforest an area that has long been ignored. In Gulfton Sharpstown, our SEPTED initiatives will focus on layering improvements to the built environment that can support recommendations from prior planning efforts, such as Complete Communities, Greener Gulfton, among many other planning initiatives there. And we're really focused on layering cooling, lighting, lifting, and moving aspects of the infrastructure that can work in tandem to really support safety, a better and safer public realm that people can really walk in and not feel like they're under pressure from either crime or heat. And so that is a big focus at our office as well. Connecting people is also about innovating on public space too, and implementing new infrastructure projects that can transform the built environment. The West Chase District Promenade is an investment in public space that can create a new front yard for walkable mixed-use development in one of our largest employment districts that emanated from the West Chase District Livable Center study. This is in partnership with the West Chase District, and we're so excited to look at infrastructure in a much more innovative and creative way that can work with the private sector to deliver truly walkable places in our community. Above all, our administration believes that government is a part of the solution and can work with all sectors to ensure that we're delivering sustainable infrastructure, services, and places. We're believers in good government. That means transparency, listening, co-creating, and the power of partnerships that the Commissioner has laid out. This is the vision for our planning for the future, with deep engagement and a lot of hard work alongside each and every one of you to get this done for our community. All of this is really symbolized in our inaugural Places for People program, which we released earlier this year. We couldn't be any more proud. A lot of you in this room contributed to this. It has been quite a successful journey just in a few months to have a competitive call for projects in Precinct 4, which yielded over 41 hyper-competitive applications, which we're able to move with 32 capital projects forward from those 41, 20 partner organizations to deliver $170 million of infrastructure investments, 88 million from the precinct. We're leveraging 82 million from our partnership contributions in local government. And the most exciting thing of all is that 26 of 32 of these projects are in medium to high socially economically vulnerable areas, which means that we're delivering on equity. I'm going to breeze through the last two slides, and we cannot do this alone. We will be enlisting support from actors across the spectrum, from private, public, nonprofit, academic, and philanthropic sectors. In order to do so, we have recently just launched our 501c3 called Precinct 4 Forward that will help the precinct be more agile and adapted for innovative financing, grants, and public-private partnerships going forward. So this is an exciting part of what we're doing as well. And I'll just close by saying that here at TAG, it's important to recognize that this is an amazing group. There's a lot of conversation here that has occurred in the past. What I will say is that the paradigm has shifted. The status quo is over. Our call to action today is for you to join us in this effort to deliver sustainable infrastructure in communities that we're just getting started. And thank you for the opportunity to share how we're moving Precinct 4 forward and planning for the future. I'll stay put.
Can Can you all join me in giving another round of applause for Luis Guajardo? That was awesome.
You know, we wanted to, as we were kind of putting this event together, it's a unique thing. Generally, when you put events together with public officials, they actually take the podium and give you a long speech, right? And with Commissioner Briones, there was an emphasis to say, I want to find a way to talk about strategy that people can understand, right? And really build on top of it. So I want to begin with this. There's tremendous growth in West Houston. We've just seen phenomenal stuff. You talked about a project that's pretty significant in terms of how it will shape West Houston. As you look to your staff and others, right, especially the energy corridor, that's a big part of that. What's your expectation? What's your hope that to get out of people like this in the room? What do you want? What kind of partnerships? What do you really want to get out of this conversation?
First of all, I want you to be motivated to see yourself as an extension of Harris County, to see yourself as the public servants and leaders who are delivering to the people of Harris County. Keep that why front and center. Second, be proactive. We are a team that wants to listen, learn, co-create, brainstorm different, better, innovative ways of doing things. And speaking of the Energy District, I want to thank the Executive Director, Elijah Williams, who's here with us. He is somebody who comes to us with different ideas, and that's what it's about. You know, the lawyer in me, I like to hear all sides of an issue or a case. And so I want you to see yourself as an extension of the Precinct 4 and Harris County team. I want you to bring forth the good, bad, and ugly. We don't want to just hear good things. We want to be challenged, because my philosophy is that iron sharpens iron. And so as you do your work, please take off the blinders that I think so many of us sometimes feel encumbered by. We think that's the way it's easier, faster, expected. Well, know from our team that we want the antithesis. We're going big, and we want to continue moving this region to be a world-class region that will go toe-to-toe with any place, infrastructure and otherwise. So stay motivated and stay engaged and become a part of the Precinct 14.
And that's one thing that I've learned from you, that when you see the extension of public service in government, it's not just the people that have a public sector business card, but all of us that work in that public sector. And I think that's a great reminder for all of us. Talking about Elijah, I hold a grudge against Elijah. Elijah actually stole one of my best people, Zach Miller, worked for me for 12 years. But I have to kind of let it go, because he was a key sponsor here today. So we've got to you know, when you sponsor, you gotta let it go, right? So as we're talking about this, right, in terms of partnerships, the other thing that kind of jumped out at me, that Dr. Peterson's here from Harris County Flood Control. Floodwaters don't know any boundaries, right? Development, transportation, all of the issues we face, don't really see that kind of like the lines drawn here. So your district connects both with Fort Bend County and Waller County, and the county judges are here. How do you see that interaction between counties? Because I think that's a big thing. We are a region. We're not just City of Houston. We're not just Harris County. TAG is a regional organization. We see this as regional challenges. How do you connect with those?
I see it as a partnership and collaboration. So literally a few days ago, meeting with Judge Duhan, we were discussing how can we work together to take a regional approach. Judge George and I have had similar conversations, and with many of the commissioners that are our neighbors. We are here in the spirit of we are stronger together. If we can pool our resources, time, and expertise, we'll get so much more done. And because I have, my husband would say impatience, I call it the urgency of now, we want to get things done. And so we're not anymore in the business of we only focus on unincorporated Precinct 4. We do. We will quarterback that, and we will deliver with excellence. And we want to work with our 5 cities, and we want to work with our neighboring counties. And I want to thank the GLO. We have had an incredible opportunity to hit reset on that relationship. Commissioner Don Buckingham and I have developed a great relationship. We're working so collaboratively. It's almost like flood control and GLO are co-officing and co-creating as we deliver on these CDBG MIT and CDBG DR projects. And I see some of our wonderful Texas state representatives in this room. Thank you for your leadership, because we have so many challenges, but where can we find those points where we agree on and continue advancing the ball? Because zero-sum games, that's your line, that's mine. We succeed together or we fail together is how I see it, and so that's my approach, and it's an open invitation. For-profit, nonprofit, academic, anyone who wants to partner to help deliver excellence to the people of this region, you're a part of the team. We welcome you.
How do you see your office interacting, Luis, from your vantage point in the commissioner? I know we've talked about Ray Guerra a lot on this topic as well. How do you see our office interacting while you have these big agencies, Tetra, flood control, engineering, as well in this process?
Well, it starts in some cases by the personalities, right? I think we need to have those strong relationships with folks in every single entity. And we have to find ways to formalize them as well, because for the good of the precinct and the good of the county, we need to have formal partnerships. The Precinct 4 Forward nonprofit is going to be, I think, a big avenue as well to codifying a lot of those relationships in real, tangible partnership opportunities. The Places for People is another, where, for example, there were some project submissions that came in that were straddling the county lines or precinct boundary lines. And there were conversations with Precinct 1 and Precinct 3 about projects that were right at those boundaries. And so it's really about making sure that we're having that coordination up front, that we're collaborating and we're being honest and sincere in that collaboration, but having an open door policy. You know, I think opening Precinct 4 up and having people come to us and likewise us going to them has proven very successful so far, in that we're able to leverage a lot of these partnership dollars for the well-being of our community, right?
So I want to pick up on this. The foundation / nonprofit that you want to create. You have I don't think people realize, you have a very distinguished background in doing philanthropy and structuring large-scale programs. I mean, the stuff that Arnold Foundation has done are not small things, they're big tackle things. How do you see that growing, right? And how do you see it interacting with county government?
Yes. So we are thrilled that we have started Precinct 4 Forward, our 501c3 public charity arm. This will be our nimble, more at our speed, Mr. Trevino, way to get things done, because we've had so many corporate partners and others want to invest in the work we're doing. And as much as I love rules and I'm a lawyer, sometimes the processes are a little cumbersome. So this will be a quick way. I did spend 8 years in philanthropy working with Laura and John Arnold, who are multi-billionaire, just brilliant people who are masterful at public-private partnerships. So I spent 8 years working across the country with governmental entities, universities, nonprofits, forming these public-private partnerships, which again, we don't want to raise taxes, and we have very limited government resources. And I'm never going to stop being bold and innovative. So how do I connect all of those dots with the limited resources? It's through partnership. So we want to go big. If you want to be a part of this work, we invite you. And I want to thank again Dr. Peterson and Mr. Trevino and Dr. Roman, 3 of our key department heads. They really have this partnership mentality. And I'm sure at times they're like, oh my goodness, she's calling again. But I'm all in, right? Long gone are the days where the engineering department and Hector and flood control were their own oasis, you know? We're a team. There's one team, and that's Harris County, and we need to get the work done because the people deserve it, and we need to make sure we're stretching every government dollar to have the maximum impact in a way that is environmentally just and socially just, et cetera. So anyway, I thank y'all for your partnership, and it's here, we're, you know, game on. And I've heard a lot, this is not how things are done. Well, I love the past, I love learning from the past, but what I'm focused on is building for the future.
as we kind of conclude our conversation, right? Take a minute a little bit about equity and talking about connecting communities, using the philanthropy arm, right, where there's gaps, and then using the public infrastructure to move things at a scale. Can you help me kind of understand, like, how do you see that coming together?
Do you want to take it first?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think one thing we realize a lot is that planners and engineers and those of us in infrastructure, we're really good at knowing why we can't do something, right? Why we can't do that one project, why we can't finance that other great idea, right? Sometimes when there's federal money involved, there's also a federal process that might complicate the planning timeline and schedule. And so what we're really here focused on is we've got to know, obviously, what those hurdles are. But what I'm very enthused about is having a team that's aligned and also a commissioner that is very much about pressing forward and going forward at full speed. And that has been really enlightening to know we can find alternative solutions. We can try to get creative so that we can address a lot of our infrastructure challenges. And I think that has been very liberating as a planner to sometimes not just think of what are the obstacles along the way that we gotta kind of navigate, but it's really thinking about how do we break through these walls, right? If we're gonna achieve what we ultimately want to or need to achieve. And so that has been really energizing, and I think a lot of the foundation here with the nonprofit as Precinct 4 Forward is there to support us in that endeavor, but we're also trying to get creative on, how do we think about real estate and land? And so real estate and land is also a valuable asset, right? And we have to make government a lot smarter. Why is it that we cannot work with real estate and land to make sure that we're leveraging that so that it can help finance infrastructure much more rapidly, right? So there's a lot of innovation out there. A lot of places around the world have kind of figured this out, in some way or another. And it's really looking and thinking outside the box to bring those solutions here and trying them out, because we can fail, we can learn, we can pilot them, but it's really about iterating and improving. And that's really the kind of planning that we're all about here at Precinct 4 is we're gonna take some chances. Yeah, they might be risky, they might not be the most conventional things, but we're gonna learn from them. And along the way, we will make our community, I think, a lot better in doing that.
So as last thing I'll ask you. This way of thinking, right, of connectivity between projects, if you build a building, how we're going to fund the programs that go in it, right? If we're going to create equity and not divide through a road in the middle of a neighborhood, how do we engage them in recreating something? This is a passion for you. And I've kind of known you for a long time.
Known me a long time.
So before you got on, so I know this is a passion for you. Why this job? Is this the job that you had envisioned when you ran for office? When you've got is this it? Is this the job, or is it the job different than what you expected?
It's even better because there's such tremendous opportunity and such ability to really drive change every day. And I'm energized every day by the talent that we've assembled. And we have the best and the brightest, I would say, in the county and in the region. We have people who are drawn to get the work done and execute with excellence and with equity. But the truth is I never planned on running for office. And this has been an unexpected blessing. And what guides me every day, in addition to my 3 little girls, who I adore, is where I grew up. I grew up in South Texas on the border, and I grew up in a small city where there are colonias where folks do not have running water. The lack of infrastructure was staggering. I lived on the border of literally where people come to this country because they believe in the American dream and the opportunity and promise of this country. I carry that with me every day. And while I never planned in a million years to run for office, and I really don't actually like politics, I like public service, while I am here, and I'm so thankful to the folks of Harris County to give me this opportunity, We are going to keep that why front and center, and we're going to do everything we can to make our community more just and more fair, and we will never leave anyone behind. So we will serve everybody in our precinct and in our county, and the judge in me will always bring that black robe of listening to all sides, looking at the facts and evidence, and then making those hard decisions. So it's even better than I expected, and I'm just so deeply, deeply grateful for the opportunity to serve and for the opportunity to share this time with you. And thank you again, Mustafa and Cristina, for your leadership and true public service. So thank you.
Commissioner Lesley Briones, thank you. Christina is going to come up.
Thank you, Cristina.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I think we'd stay here all day and change the world. How about that? We'll stay here all day and change the world. How about that? Commissioner, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing with us the passion and just give us a glimpse of the future, but also for the call to action. And I know I can speak on behalf of the TAG board, on behalf of our membership, to let you know we are proud to be here with you, an extension of your office and of good governance and for the future. So on behalf of the TAG board, I want to present a small token of our appreciation.
The TAG
And
board,
just thank you. And can I be joined by the TAG board, please? Yes.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
We're going to, take the picture. You two first. You two first.
Thank you all for.
Cristina.
Yeah. Huh? Thanks, everybody, for coming. Have a wonderful afternoon. We appreciate everything that you do, and we look forward to seeing you at our next event. Christina's going to talk.
Our next event, October 24th, State of TxDOT. So look forward to seeing each of you there. And happy Hispanic Heritage Month. Have a great month, and we'll see you in a few weeks.